This is the Some Indie Sundays brought to you by the Goody Awards. Thank you so much to them for supporting us every day in and out. Um, we are hanging out here in a different location tonight because we are up in Chicago, baby. I'm a Chicago baby. You could be a Chicago baby if you wanted to. I don't know, up to you. But we are hanging out here tonight. I'm in an Airbnb currently, so don't get too attached to this location because it's going to change. And also, I have my little cup of water right here, but this cup is very big. This is not just a perspective. This is a very big cup, and so I have this cup for one night only, and then you'll see a different cup next time because I talk a lot and get a little thirsty and have to have a little drink. I should do ASMR, a little drinking ASMR. Well, I can gargle the water too. No, but I won't make you stick around for that. This is, we got a couple things to talk about tonight, so we're going to get into it. We got two main topics, and then, of course, we got our headlines. So let me go ahead and switch over to our headlines. While I'm doing that, you can use this time to do whatever you want to do. Feel free to drop a comment in the chat, and I will see it and interact with you. I'll might even put it on the screen here. If of anything that you've been listening to or watching to this weekend, I'm gonna get into some of that. I watched a couple movies. I've listened to some albums. We're gonna get into that, and there's some good music out right now. And then there's some good music, and there's some controversy, some stuff going on. So we'll get into that later on. And also, let me just go ahead and say the VMAs are this upcoming Wednesday, because they're the September 11th, and they are going to be at 8 p.m. And they are, I just wrote this down. Hang on. Yes, they're going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on September 11th, 7 p.m. Central Time. Quick maths right there. The easiest way to watch them is probably on Paramount, is what I was seeing. But Paramount Plus, just get if you want to watch them. But I'm also thinking that I will do a little live stream right after the end just to react to the winners and everything. So that's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. I don't know that the VMAs are as important to do a live stream throughout the whole thing, but I do think it's good to sort of acknowledge in the moment what happens. And of course, if you're not able to tune into that live stream, you can tune into the next Indie Sunday coming up next Sunday, and I'll run through it real quick then. So either way, though, we'll get it figured out. And so that's what I'm planning on doing. Is right after the VMAs end, keep an eye up on the Goody Awards live stream because we're gonna go to it. So VMAs are coming up this Sunday. Everyone and their mother is going to be performing. Megan Thee Stallion is going to be hosting, and we're going to get into it a little later in the show. Just doing a little bit of a deep dive, or I'm not going super deep, just like a mid dive into the best alternative category. Because here on Indie Sundays, I would like to focus on the rock and alternative scene, and so I like to keep you abreast of anything going on in that area. So, okay, but let us get out of the rock and alternative scene for a big announcement right here, because there's a big announcement. Oh wait, hang on, where is it? No, come back. I want you. Okay, I want you back. Let me share my screen here because it was just announced. I think when was this? Today. Yeah, so it was just announced today. Let me share my screen because we got some stuff going on. Take a look at this. Oh my goodness, look at what it is. The Super Bowl halftime show 2025. So February 9th, 2025, it has been announced that Kendrick Lamar is going to be the performing artist at the halftime show. So, this is big news. And are you starting to feel bad for Drake at any point? Are you starting to feel sort of sad for him that he just keeps taking L's? So just imagine the whole country, not even just in the stadium, that one stadium will be a big thing as well, but the whole country sing along, not like us, because surely he's going to play it, right? So that'll be crazy. So Kendrick Lamar hosting the halftime show, that's big, early next year. Okay, let's get into our next headline right here. Oh, there's Kendrick Lamar. Charlie XCX, September 2nd. So just last week, because it's been a minute since I talked to you guys, but just last September 2nd said goodbye forever, Brat Summer. So Brat Summer is, here's that little tweet. And Brat Summer man, it might be over. So stay tuned because I mean, she might be doing some more stuff, or whatever. But I think she's done. I think she's moving on and just focusing on the next stuff. Stay tuned because next week or the week after, there's some other Charlie news that I want to hit, and and I'm thinking that we'll go into a deeper topic of like ranking all the Brat remixes and talking about like what makes a good remix because I do have some thoughts on that. Um, but I have some bigger topics I want to get into tonight, so I don't have all that research done yet. But just stay tuned for that because we'll be talking a little bit more about Charlie XX and wrapping up on a Brat Summer next week. So, hang on, I see. Yes, the ultimate disc, Caitlin. That's right. Yeah. So let me do the says the ultimate diss, and right there for doing a little bit of a playing Kendrick Lamar at the Kendrick Lamar playing "Not Like Us" at the Super Bowl. I mean, that's the that. Just imagine like being playing a diss track at the like the biggest. I think it is like the biggest live event still in the country. So you know, kind of crazy, kind of crazy. But yeah, so speaking of Brett Summer, I am currently wearing uh, this shirt I got at Sidewalk last week or a week or two ago because I went to the Sidewalk Film Festival and Sidewalk is pretty epic and up with the kids. And so they made a shirt that is like the Brat meme but says Sidewalk. And I was wearing it today when I walked around. And someone's like, "Oh, I like your shirt." It's like because of Brat, Charlie XX, right? And I was like, "Yeah." And then I was like, I mean, someone can recognize that, but even if they recognize that, really am just walking around with a shirt that says Sidewalk. And so, like, it doesn't say Sidewalk Film Festival or anything. Maybe on the back. Is it on the back? No, I don't think it does. So it's literally I'm just walking around with a shirt that says Sidewalk. So someone could, which is, as you know, a real word. So someone could just be walking around and be like, "Oh, why do you have a shirt that says Sidewalk in the Brat font?" And I'm like, too complicated to explain. So anyway, but Brat Summer is never over as long as you keep it in your heart. It's a mentality. Okay, in addition to Brat Summer being over, let's talk about Brat Summer's over, but Oasis is back together. There's been a lot of stuff going on with that. Another thing that like I'm gonna look more into and talk a little bit more about next week, I think, because there's been some stuff happening with Ticketmaster, and so we'll get into that. So Oasis is doing a reunion tour. Linkin Park is doing back together doing new music. We'll get into that in a little bit later tonight because there's lots of stuff going on with that. And then the next big thing though is take a look at this. We got an album announcement this week from the one and only The Weeknd. He is coming out with an album soon. I'm trying to see at the time that he announced it when the announcement originally came out. It was an okay. It doesn't look yet like he has announced when the release date is, but the name of the album is "Hurry Up Tomorrow," and so it's the third entry in the sort of After Hours trilogy. You had After Hours, Dawn FM, and now Hurry Up Tomorrow. So yeah, I don't see any. I haven't seen any release date yet. That may have just happened the past like day or two. But yeah, so that is The Weeknd. And as we're also wrapping up the Brat Summer, let's also hit. We talked a little last time we did this stream about TikTok top songs or whatever, and Billboard came out with their charting top songs, like what had been the top songs of the summer. Post Malone and Morgan Wallen had been at the top of that. Had some help. You got Bar Song, Not Like Us, Espresso, $1 Million Baby, which is the top of the charts on the TikTok charts. That says that was the biggest song of the summer. It's at number 5 here. Then you have Sabrina Carpenter, Hozier, Teddy Swims, Billie Eilish, Birds of Feather, and Benson Boone. So pretty similar lists, I would say, but they've got a bit of a different ranking there. So, yep, that is the songs of the summer 2024 according to the charts. And speaking of charts, let's get into the charts because there is some chart stuff that I want to go over. So let me go ahead and pull up some of my chart links because I want to show you some stuff. We'll start a little bit with our albums. And so I had to wait because of the holiday weekend last week. They didn't get the info right away. The info was delayed coming back on the chart information on Sabrina Carpenter's album, but it is at number 1, baby. That is right. Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter in its first week hit #1. So we are happy to see that. So it toppled F1 Trillion, Post Malone's album, which hit #1 last week or 2 weeks ago. And so Post Malone hit #1, then Sabrina Carpenter hit #1. We'll see if it stays. I think we'll know tomorrow if it stays at #1. I imagine it would, but these charts will change in the next 24 hours. So that'll be interesting and exciting. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So Travis Scott is also on here. I listened to a little bit of this album. Here's F1 Trillion at Post Malone #3, Rise and Fall of Midwest Princess. It went down, so it looked like it was maybe going to come up and finally get to #1, do a slow rise to the top, but no. And then here, there's also Lainey Wilson. I didn't listen to that record, but yeah, so that was a couple. I also saw at number 97 this week, we had, I won't scroll all the way down, but Romance by Fontaines DC, which we promoted last week, is at number 97. So I was happy to see that on the charts. Let's see. Now let's hit our Hot 100 because to see a breakdown of some of those songs. So there's some of the songs in the top 10 on the charts list. Here are a little bit of the songs. Shabuzi is still at #1. This is what I wanted to see, though. I wanted to see from, oh, hang on. Shoot. Let me share this. I'm sorry. Let me switch over to this. Okay, so because Shabuzi's at #1, but I wanted to see which of Sabrina's was going to go big. What were going to be some of it? So Taste is definitely the one that they were pushing to go off the album of the non-singles. They were one of the album songs that they were pushing big for, and it is at #2 now, which makes sense. Then you've got Sabrina Carpenter here on the top. Also wanted to point out this Die With A Smile is hit #3 last week. It's down a little bit now. I'm kind of mad on the song, so it's okay, but I don't know. I feel like it's just okay. Scrolling down a little bit, we see some more of Sabrina Carpenter hitting here. Bedchem, Good Graces at number 14 and 15. And I'm just scrolling down a little bit to show you sort of where her songs are showing up. You got Sharpest Tool and Juno. I like Juno. I think that's a good one. Coincidence, that's one of my favorites. I wish Coincidence and Slim Pickens did better. I think those are some really good songs off the album. So would recommend that you check those out. Dumb and Poetic, I also like that one. And then Don't Smile. So she's kind of all in the charts. We can still see some of the Post Malone is still on here a little bit. As his album came out just recently and was hit #1 last time. So yep. So this is the updated information on the charts. So I'll keep you posted next week. I'm interested to see. Now that I know that Sabrina Carpenter hit the top, I'm just to see, okay, well, what's going to happen next? Like, is she going to stay on the charts? Is she going to fall? Obviously, she can't get any higher. So, like, where is she going to stay at #1, or is she going to go down a little bit? And see, and I'll keep you posted next week on what is how that goes. Who's doing well on that? Okay, let's get into now. That is some of our charts. Let's get into some of the recent albums, some of the albums that came out this weekend. There were a couple. It wasn't a super big week for music. There were a couple albums that dropped. Let's see. Let me pull them up here on my screen. I'll hit first. It's not exactly like indie rock or whatever, but I would say it's kind of alternative. Let's see, Fred again, who was nominated for a Best New Artist last year, or technically whoever won this year or whatever. He is out with an album, just came out this Friday, and the name of it is 10 Days. And they had a couple singles that I was listening to. Those were actually some of the singles that I got into when I saw that he was up for Best New Artist this past year at the Grammys, and I wanted to take a listen. So Adore You, I have listened to, and then 10. Those are some good songs. I listened to the rest of this. It's kind of like this chill, sort of like ambient dance vibe. So it's good. There's some good stuff on here if you're into that. I might check it out. Also, Fearless is good. I like that one. Where's that one? Fearless. I enjoyed that one. So yeah, so there was some good stuff off of this this album. I will also say that I listened to live from Fenway Park a little bit. The Noah Kahan album, he did like a live thing, and it was all right. I listened to a lot of Noah Kahan this week because I haven't really listened to him a lot, but I was like, let me check. I was driving around. I was like, let me check out his album, like the Six Season album, and like actually listen to it the whole way through. And it was eye opening to be like, okay, I think I understand why people, because I've just like really just focused on the singles. Where it's like I think I understand why people like to listen to this um, stuff. Okay, Blink-182 came out with One More Time just recently. They came out with the deluxe version of this album, One More Time Part 2. And so this album is very long, of course, because it's the deluxe version. And it's an hour and 14 minutes. But if you've already listened to the song, all you need to know are these last 8. And I would really say if you want to listen to some Blink-182, a lot of the songs sound very samey, and I think the ones that stand out are Take Me In and Every Other Weekend. So if you're going to check something out from Blink-182, this new Blink-182 deluxe album, One More Time Part 2, I would check out those. And I think what makes them stand out is it's like they're kind of doing the style of like this sort of pop punk style, but like updating a little bit, making it sound a little more modern. The other stuff is the stuff that just sounds like it was like from 20 years ago, and like you haven't done anything different since then. So if you're gonna listen to something, I would say check that out. Check those two out. And also this week, Rex Orange County came out with the Alexander Technique. I haven't had a chance to really listen through well to this one though, so I cannot give my full review or opinion on that. But if you're a Rex Orange County fan, that album came out this weekend as well. So that's a little bit of what's going on with some music. Now let's get into some movies. That's right, it's movie time. So I just this weekend went and saw Alien Romulus. So I saw that this weekend. Today actually, I went and saw that, and because I know I'm a little behind, but I had to get caught up. Give me a break, guys. But I enjoyed this movie. So I don't know your opinion. If you've seen the Alien movies, I will say I went into this just having seen the first Alien, and I was a fan. I didn't know any of the lore except for from the first one. I haven't seen any of the other sequels, but I thought that this was pretty good. I thought they did a good job of updating it. I didn't feel lost. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to feel lost if there's been like 2 or 3 movies since the first one. But I think they did a good job at making it not super necessary to go see the past movies. Movies always kind of have to do that whenever they're making a sequel, just being aware that someone might not have seen the past ones and trying to make it not too confusing. But I think this one did a pretty good job at you're not feeling like you're missing out on anything. There were a couple things I was like, that's probably a reference to something in one of the other movies, but I don't feel like I'm missing out on it. I think they understood, and with this movie, my general review is I think they understood what made the first one good, and then they kept that, but also riffed on it a little bit just to make it seem like you're not watching the exact same thing. So I thought it was really good. Also, shout out to Kaylee Spaney. I thought she did a good job in this. I'm excited to see her and stuff. I enjoyed Priscilla. I've just seen Civil War, this movie. It was interesting to see her in that. And then Kaylee Spaney is part of my rising stars group of actors. So I guess who else would be in there? I'd say Austin Butler's in there, Zendaya, Mike Feist, Josh O'Connor, Florence Pugh. All those people are in rising stars actors. And I think she's in them too. Cause I'm excited. I just I see her in something. I'm like, ooh, this is going to be interesting. Whenever I didn't know she was going to be in this, but I was like, when I saw she was, I was like, okay, this is going to be good. I'm excited to see her performance. Okay. So I would say Alien Romulus has my recommendation. I think if you like a good monster movie, if you like a good horror thriller, if you like a good sci-fi or whatever, I think this does a good job. I think an action movie is sort of succeeds off of its individual set pieces, its individual scenes. Are the situations that you put the characters in interesting to watch? Not just is it not just is it there a lot of noise and jingling of keys to keep your attention, but is the stuff actually interesting? Is it actually interesting to see, like, okay, like, is there tension? Are they going to be able to figure this out? And I don't just want to see them figure it out with like fists and bullets, but with like sometimes they have to think differently, they have to think smart, they have to plan or whatever. And so I like that this allowed for that, did that. So I'm a fan of Alien Romulus. One that I cannot really give my recommendation to is The Crow. Now I went to see this. I did not have a big expectations for this movie. It's a remake of the 1994 Crow, which I was not familiar with. I was like, why did they? I've never heard of this. Why did they remake that? But this is the movie. If you know Brandon Lee, wait, who's Brandon? Let's see, Brandon Lee. Let me show you. So this guy, Brandon Lee. Oh yes, he's the son of Bruce Lee, and he passed away tragically while making this movie, This Crow, 1994. And so I was like, oh, well, I've heard of that story before. So I guess I am familiar with this movie. I just didn't know that it was The Crow. I didn't know that that's what it was. So they remade that movie because whenever that 1994, so like 30 years ago now, they finished making that movie with like body doubles and like special effects and everything, just because they were making it whenever he passed away. And they remade it in 2024. And so I don't know how good the old one is. I feel like it may have some love for someone who's passed away, who was a rising actor, who was a very promising actor. But I think it also is a certain aesthetic, is of a certain time, it makes sense or whatever. But this one, people are saying it's just kind of like not that great. Not because what it has, the basic premise is that this guy and this girl, he's trying to like win her soul back. Basically, it's kind of like a whatever that old like fable is, that old Greek myth about like the guy who plays the lyre and he has to like go into the underworld and save like his wife or whatever, or his girlfriend. And this guy kind of has to do stuff like that, but he like has to try to avenge her. And so he's a little like, he has to look all, let me click on this. They try to make it look all cool and edgy. And it just seemed to be that maybe that worked better in the 90s with the 90s goth aesthetic rather than the sort of emo aesthetic. People were saying, I don't know. I think Bill Skarsgård, I think that's who it is. Yeah. I think he's got an interesting look to him. I just like seeing what he does, but it was a little cringe. I feel like they could have made him so much cooler, like before he became this guy in the movie. I feel like they could have made him seem like more mysterious or clever or something like that, and they just kind of, I don't know, he's just kind of a goof. So it's a bit of a silly movie. I just went to see. It's like it's a silly time. So I can't necessarily recommend that, but that is one that I checked out just to see what it was like. So it was interesting to see. I also went and saw Coraline, the reissued version of that. Beetlejuice came out this week, but I have not had a chance to see that. I'll see it. It came out this past weekend. I'm planning on seeing it this week, though. So next week I'll let you know what I thought about it. Now, in movie announcements, they have announced that this Minecraft movie coming out with Jason Momoa and Jack Black and everything. So that came out. That just was announced. Its release date and everything. So the teaser came out. So that's probably going to be, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be kind of cringe, but we'll see. We'll see if it's just like the greatest thing ever made, but I kind of doubt it. So yeah, that's some of the movie news from this week. Now let's get into our first topic. Well, I close this out and get because I want to talk a little bit about because those are our headlines. Those are things that have been going on this week. If anything happens this week, I'll tell you about it next Indie Sunday, brought to you by the Goodie Awards. Okay, so our next thing that I want to talk about is one of our main topics for tonight is the alternative song category at the VMAs. So the VMAs are on Wednesday, and I want to talk a little bit about. We did this last time. We talked a little bit about uh, the rock category. And spoiler, I do think the rock category is a stronger music video category than the alternative, which is disappointing to see. I want my alternative to be like kind of weird and out there and like doing cool things. And then the rock is sort of like the standard, what you would expect, but still good or whatever. But alternative, it kind of let me down. Kind of let me down. It was kind of boring. But let me show you a little bit of who is up at this year for the. Oh, this is interesting. Um, they have added. They've added. Speaking of the VMAs, I'll hit this real quick because I think this is interesting. They added a couple categories that they weren't there originally, but they just like added as time has gone on. So Song of the Summer, which we've talked a little bit about those. If I was to pick one, I would probably say Not Like Us should win or Bar Song. I think those were really big. TikTok says Million Dollar Baby, so I don't know. We'll see what ends up winning it. There are many options, and then you also have Best Trending Video in BMA's Most Iconic Performance. So, anyway, those are some. Which is weird. Best Trending Video. So is that just like the? I'm glad that we have some like people who I feel like were kind of missed out. Like Hot to Go, Apple, Texas Hold'em, but like it just seems like what is this category? Shouldn't this just be in like best video? Why are you doing best trending video? Because that's just like, oh, does that just mean it got the most numbers the most quickly? I don't know. Seems kind of silly. But let's get into. Let me go to where's the category? Best alternative. So we have Benson Boone, Bleachers, Hozier, Imagine Dragons, Linkin Park, and Teddy Swims are up for the best alternative video here at the 2024 VMAs. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what my pick is at the end of this, but let's go through them a little bit. And I'm going to do what I did last week, where I say, okay, here is, I'm not going to go super deep dive, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about, I'm going to tell you at least one thing that I like about each one. And I'm going to tell you something that I think is maybe a shortcoming of the video. So let's start with this first one, Benson Boone, Beautiful Things, off his album, single for the album that came out this year, Fireworks and Rollerblades. And let me show you a little bit of this, and I am going to mute the audio because I don't want him to come after me. I want to be able to keep this video up so that way you guys can see it. Okay, but let me show this tab. Okay, so this is kind of, let me start off by saying that this is kind of a basic music video. Like it's looks a little like all these sort of like we're going outside and we're shooting these shots or whatever, or that like we're catching like this light behind us and making you have like this halo effect, and like there's a shot of like them walking and everything, and it's like I don't know, it just feels a little uninspired, like, oh, we'll just go to a cool place and take a video and like that'll be it. But I feel like you could have done stuff a little better. Like he's climbing up this mountain and there's this cool shot of like his hand reaching up. I wish they had timed that to like when the chorus came in and it's like like these beautiful things, like make it so that way that peak hits whenever he's climbing up the mountain, because then I think that would make sense if you're thinking about like the story of the video and using your visual information to tell a story, because it's like he's struggling to get these beautiful things or whatever, and then that like he's reaching the top and he's doing the hard thing, even though it's hard because it's important to him. I feel like that would add more information. It would add to the song instead of just like being this thing that's just happening. I don't know. It seemed more intentional. It seemed like it has more purpose. I will also say though, that's a little criticism, but I will say a cool thing I like is I really like this shot of the guitar. Like I just like this, like this. That's just a cool picture right there. So shout out to them for. I guess they did get some good shots. So yeah. So that's Benson being beautiful things. It's okay, but it's like I feel like there's not anything special. I feel like I could easily see how this could be a little better. It's kind of just them performing it, and I like to see him perform and like being going all out. But the way that mix of the song is, it's kind of weird because it sounds like the instruments don't sound right for what we're seeing, which is very like it takes me out of it as someone who's paying attention to these things. Like they sound like they're further back in the mix or whatever, or they're I don't know. It just like it doesn't quite match like what I'm seeing. If I was there live, it would sound very different than what I'm hearing in the mix. So it just feels kind of weird to see it. So there's some good things. It's a good song. It is a good song, but like the music video is kind of uninspired. So bit disappointed to see that. Okay, Bleachers is up next with Tiny Moves. So I was excited to because Margaret Qualley is in this, who was also in Kinds of Kindness, a movie that came out this year, and she's dancing in it. And my understanding is that she like sort of co-directed slash did some of the choreography or like all the choreography for this, came up with it. So that's cool. I mean, like I'd love to see that. And I do like the lighting for this music video. Let me show this. It kind of like makes me think of La La Land a little bit. I mean, it's very simple. They just like got like a spotlight and just shined it on her or whatever. But like it it's some nice lighting. Like I like the it illuminates her in a very it's a nice way. It's like I don't know how else to say that, but it's just like it's a nice way it's a good way to have lit this scene where it's very dark behind her. There's some little lights or whatever. It's a simple music video, but it's just like the shots adds a sense of sort of otherworldliness to this very like just random lot that they found or whatever. I know that's one of the cool things about lighting. I will also say I really liked at one point it's just like on her and then it goes behind her right here and then like you're like okay I see this car I think there's someone and then like she leans back and it reveals there's Jack Antonoff or whatever, which is like okay I'm a sucker for that type of thing, so that is what I like to see. But I don't really this is just kind of my personal choice. I don't really like this kind of dancing, this kind of ballet. I mean some people are really into it, but this is like one of the types of dancing that I'm like I don't know. It's like it's expressive or it's uh personal or it's I don't know. I just don't like this type of dancing or ballet or whatever it is. I think it's kind of boring. And some of the editing is kind of weird. Uh and it seems kind of unmotivated. It seems like jump cuts are places where it's like a full shot and then it'll cut to like her feet or something like that. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I feel like they could have edited it better. So there's some nice technical elements. I like the people involved, but I think that it's kind of it's really just like not my thing. So I mean, some people might be out here and say like, no, it's good because like she's doing this thing because I know dance and like this is actually super expressive, but like it didn't hit with me. So I mean, enjoy what you enjoy, but like I did not feel any type of way watching it, being like wow, that dancing is really making me understand. It felt like almost like exhibitionist, uh, like as I don't really know what the point was, but like just like that he was just sitting there watching her dance and it was like she was performing for him. Obviously I know that that's not what the point is, but like that's kind of what it felt like a little bit. So like just being like yeah just she's on display performing for him and he's just sitting there watching her do her thing or whatever and like she I don't know. I know that that's not what they were going for. I know it's supposed to be like cool and sweet and like she's expressing herself, but it just I don't know. It didn't hit with me. I was not a fan. Okay, let's talk about this Hosier. Too Sweet, one of the biggest songs of the summer. I still think it's going to win. They put it in alternative, so maybe it'll win alternative song. But if not, if they put it in rock, I think it'll win best rock song at the Grammys. But I think this music video suffers from the fact that it is a tour music video, and because of that, it makes it pretty boring of what they're limited on what they're able to do, and they kind of go the obvious way of like let's just show us like on tour like singing and like being happy and enjoying and playing the song, and I'm like okay well you can do that, but one it's kind of cheesy and it's kind of corny, which okay there's a time and a place to be cheesy and corny. But I would say for something like the Coldplay video, it makes sense to do something like that. The Coldplay video for Feels Like I'm Falling in Love, it's they incorporate elements of stuff that like you know with the sign language aspect of the that video, they make it something that I can get behind. Like they have like a social thing that they're doing or whatever, and it's like, you know, it's a little cheesy, but like I think they're platforming a sort of underrepresented group, and you know I appreciate the artistry put into it and the extra elements they added to be like, okay, we have an idea, but let's also like to make it look interesting, add some artistry to this. This is just kind of like this them just sitting around and doing it. It's something that works. I'm sure people like to see like, oh, here's all the people, and like here's me and my friends at the concert, and like, but it just seems like it feels to me just like it's cobbled together of just like the footage that they were able to get. And they were like, we have to make a music video because this song is really big, and we want to get like the people to go and watch it or whatever, and like get the streams from it. But like, you know, if you're gonna do something, like make it good. It's just it feels a little lazy, and I feel like there definitely were ways if you're a little creative that you can make it um more interesting. And you can make it like a little bit better done because it's like easy things. Like they have certain instruments highlighted. Like there's a guitar riff that's playing right here. Little the do 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 do. They're playing like or the bass or whatever, and then they're showing like a guitar is sticking out in the song whenever it's showing these people doing the shaker. It's like I don't hear the shaker right now. Why are you showing a shaker and playing a guitar? It's like it seems kind of like basic stuff that you should understand. I just don't like that everyone's so happy whenever it's like, you look stupid. um, and they had the crowd. They could have done like a Not Like Us thing uh, with the Kendrick video and like had the crowd singing. Like there are parts in the song, in the Too Sweet song, where they're like are coming in on the chorus, on the pre-chorus, and it's like there's an actual chorus of people coming in with him, like backing vocalists and everything. Why didn't you have the crowd like they were obviously singing it? Why don't you record the crowd doing that, incorporate that like Kendrick did on his song, and it would have like sounded cool. That would have been like a good thing to do. So I am uh, not a fan of that. I think I forgot to put something I liked from this. Uh, um, I there was one little thing that I thought was okay is that I think that the transition to the second verse where they show them traveling on the road is the one thing that actually kind of fits for the song. So that's not really a nice comment, but I'm sorry. I think this music video is kind of lazy, and I think they should have done better. Okay. So speaking of lazy and should have done better, let's go to Imagine Dragons. Just kidding, just kidding. Don't come for me. Imagine Dragons' Eyes Closed. They have two different music videos for this. My understanding, because one of the songs has J Balvin, but the listing on the Wikipedia page for the VMAs does not say J Balvin, so I assume that that is not the one that they are talking about. So I'm going to assume that the one that they're talking about is the what do you call the one without him? This one that I'm about to show you right now. Okay, so this is interesting because I'm kind of surprised with this video because there's a lot of it's very effects heavy. It's very like CGI heavy, and they have all these CGI sets. Is I'm kind of surprised they did not this did not get a VFX nod. Uh, someone tell me because I haven't really talked about the VFX, but I did watch all the VFX videos. Is someone tell me why Justin Timberlake's song "Selfish" is up for VFX when I could not even tell any sort of VFX in that video, and this is not. I mean, this is not even me really like pushing that this VFX in this are great because I think some of them are kind of shaky. But like, if you're gonna do VFX, make the video actually make sense for VFX. Make it like I don't know. Make it like see like I couldn't even tell what the VFX. I don't know. So that's just me. But we're talking about best alternative song. So here's Mr. Dan Reynolds. And what I will say about this song is that the I like when they you know I think some of this I like that they took sort of a creative approach. I mean, this takes thought and effort to create all these sets that they're in as they create this storyline or whatever. I think some of it's a little obvious. Um, like some of the storyline, it's not like an amazing, unique storyline. It's like he's trying to get out of this place, but he can do it with his eyes closed or whatever. Like if I just think and focus, like I can be successful or whatever, and I won't get distracted by all these options. I don't know, something like that is like the message of the song. But some of the CGI is a little weak, and I will say that nothing looks less epic than bad CGI. And like Imagine Dragons is trying to look cool. Some of the CGI does look good though. Just some of it is like this type of thing. And I'm just like, okay, someone obviously spent a lot of time on this, but I can tell he's just like on a green screen. Also, please let's stop having singers try to act like he's like, oh, whoa, I'm so confused or whatever. Like, what's going on right now? Like he, so let's stop trying to make them be actors if they are not good actors, because it just looks kind of silly. And they're trying to. You're supposed to look cool in a music video, and he obviously is trying to look cool in this music video, and it just looks bad when there's bad acting. Okay, so that's some hate. That's some dislikes. But I do like some of the things that some of the decisions that they make in this video. I think that the sort of these interspersed cuts to this other stuff that's happening on this car, which comes back at the end, is good. I think that adds some good variety. I think this sort of montage about 2/3 of the way through the video, as we're getting towards the end, and it's hitting this crescendo. I think that's good. I like that. I think that this song definitely did not need any sort of music cut out as they go into the final part of the song right before the final chorus. That is terrible. I hate that. And like anytime a music video does that, I hate it. But this song did not deserve it in any way. It wasn't like there was some skit. It wasn't like there was some unique thing being said. It was just like silence. And I was like, get that out of here. So, this music video, it's all right. It was a big song, even though I feel like the song is kind of just okay, kind of mid. But that's just that's some people like that. Okay, let's get into Linkin Park Friendly Fire. This video, it's just okay. It's similar to the Hosier song, but I'm not gonna be mean to it in the same way because it's different. And this is where I'm gonna get into a little bit of a conversation of like the point of a music video. And music videos, like I said just in the last video, like the point of that video is to make him look cool. Like that's not necessarily like the main point or whatever, but like he wants to look cool in the video. This video is not supposed to be cool necessarily. It's kind of like an in memoriam video because the lead singer of Linkin Park, which this song is, passed away back in 2017. It was like, in my understanding, it was like a death by suicide type situation. And so, a very heavy situation for the rock world, for the band, of course. And so, anyone who knew him. So this video has clips of him performing this song. It has videos of people reacting to it. It has people remembering him. So I think part of making music videos is knowing what type of music video you're going to make. Obviously, you aren't going to use the same approach to making Eyes Closed by Imagine Dragons as this video, which is like trying to honor the legacy of Bennington here, the lead singer of the former lead singer of Linkin Park. You want to, it needs to be kind of corny a little bit. Like there are times when you're supposed to be corny, and I understand that. I would just say that, so there's only so much like criticism I can make about like, oh, I think you should have made this music video better. But like this music video is not really for me. This music video is like for remembering his legacy, remembering this song, one of these final songs that they were able to put together with his voice on it and everything. And so I think this will hit with you if you know the story of the band. If you don't, I doubt it will really stand out to you. But I understand why something like this is here, because it's just like it's important to recognize this in the alternative scene. So I'll just go with that. I don't have too much to say beyond that, but we'll get into a little bit other with some drama going on with Linkin Park and their new lead singer in a bit here. But we got one more music video to go. It is Lose Control Teddy Swims. So I was trying to find some info about this because this says Lose Control Live. And so this was, my understanding is that this was, okay, don't show me an ad, please. My understanding is that this music video was performed, it was definitely live stream, like, because I can show chat replay. So I know it was like a live debut. And I assume it was a live performance, but I don't know that it was like a live stream. I don't think so, which is interesting. I don't think it was a live stream. I couldn't find any info around whether it was or not, but I imagine they filmed this in one take. They shot it live and then they scheduled it to upload, and then it was as a premiere. So I think that's what it was. So that's why this is called Teddy Swims Lose Control Live. But that being said, I'm going to take this as like a live performance a little bit, is that there's only so much, like you can't do too much with editing or with special effects or anything like that as a live performance. So I'm taking this usually I will judge a music video a little bit whenever it's just like, oh, you just made a music video that was a performance. Wow, how long did it take you to come up with that idea? Because I think music videos as a form can be a really interesting way to to be really expressive and add to the audio medium with the visual medium and combine them in a really interesting way. That's what I believe here at the Goodie Awards, that you can combine music and other forms of art to make something really cool. But that being said, this music video, I will say, I think with the live performance, it heightens the song because the song is very emotional, and so it allows for focus on him, and I think that's good. It makes sense for them to do that. It highlights he's performing it live, and so it's cool to hear his voice live versus just a recording. I appreciate that. That's cool. That's a good thing to see. Okay, we're adding something. We're not just taking the easy way out. We're adding something cool here. So that's cool. I get to see him performing the song, which is cool. Just like if I was at a live performance, that's like if it makes sense to do a live performance whenever the person is doing it live, whenever it's a cool song to see live. And I would say that this one is. I also really like in this room, in this one take that they do, they just have the camera zooming in and out, but I think they do some good motivated camera work. I like they changed the lighting here for verse 2. I think that's a cool way. It's a cool thing to do. I think this is a cool set. It is a very visually interesting to look at, and also there's like this guitar sort of solo part, and they actually show the guitar. Take notes, Hosier. That's what you're supposed to do when there's a guitar solo, is to actually show the guitar. So shout out to them for doing that and doing what you're supposed to do in a music video. So that is the Teddy Swims Lose Control video. And I would say, if it's not clear, this is my favorite video of the bunch. I think the Teddy Swims Lose Control video, even though it's not as flashy as some of the other ones, I think it does the most and does the best with its concept. And so I think it's the best one of the bunch. I think it's very well done. I think it makes sense. It's not gonna like I said, it's not super flashy, but it's doing good with what its idea was. And I think that it has like the least mistakes, I would say. And so I think that makes it one of the best. It's the most effective video there. So of the options, I'll once again show it. I think that Teddy Swims is the one. That's the one that it should go to. I would understand if they went Friendly Fire just to sort of recognize Bennington. But I think that if it went Too Sweet, that would be dumb. If it went, don't give it to Too Sweet. That would be stupid. I know it was a big song, but it was not the best video. It was I would say the worst video. I think Teddy Swims is the one to give it to. So that is my thought on the alternative category at the VMAs. Okay, so we're getting a little towards the end of the hour here. I've got one more topic I want to hit. Let me get a quick drink here. Now's your chance to also go grab a snack or something as I prepare for this transition. All right, I got to hit you with that. A little ASMR and such and things. Okay, let me get into this situation as I switch over my things. It's this Linkin Park situation. Okay, so like I talked about that, Chester Bennington passed away, and for a while it was like, okay, okay, well, are you going to continue to make music? Because Linkin Park is a very recognizable band. Are you continue to do stuff? Because even though you've lost one of your founding members, and so for a while it was back and forth of like, we're just right now we're just focusing on the grieving process. Totally makes sense. And then it was announced that they were going to try to do some new music. They're going to come back. And they announced a new lead singer or new co-lead singer. I don't know exactly how it works. Is Emily Armstrong. No, why did I looked up Emily and then it automatically did Emily in Paris. So that's not what I want. Let's go to Emily Armstrong. So Emily Armstrong comes from the band the Dead Sarahs, I think, co-founder of Dead Sarah. So she's in the rock scene. Let me share this real quick. So she's in the rock scene. I don't know all her credentials, but that's not that important to me to be like, oh, do you deserve to be the lead singer of Linkin Park? Because you're a girl, so you better have all these. That's not right. Anyone who's coming back from that, just stop being sexist for one thing, but also calm down. So they came out with a song this past weekend, The Emptiness Machine, and it's a good song. I liked it. It's if you don't like this type of like punk rock or whatever, like you're probably not going to like it. But I think as someone who's just so into the genre, I think it's pretty good. I like the combinations of the male and female vocals that you hear on the song, and so I was like, okay, this is good. And then with it being announced that she's now lead singer with this song coming out, I think they're gonna be touring. They have an album coming out too. Where is that? They have an album from Zero coming out in November. And so all these announcements are coming out. They're rolling out all the stuff, and then there is some criticism against Emily Armstrong because let me switch over to this Variety article. So Emily Armstrong, in the past, some other people in the rock scene criticized her because she showed some support to Danny Masterson, he was an actor on that '70s show, and he was accused of he's a convicted rapist. So like, not a good guy to support. And in the past, whenever the court case was going on, she had sort of shown support for him. Not a good look, of course. Terrible look, putting it lightly. But she since came out and said, okay, as in the Instagram post, she said, several years ago, I was asked to support someone I consider a friend. Also, this was a situation, I will say, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis did a similar thing where they gave support of this guy, and then this actor, Masterton or whatever, I don't need to say his name right because I don't care. And then they have since, they've since sort of changed their tune. They've said they've apologized or whatever, So I don't envy being in a situation where you think you know someone, you think you support someone, and then I don't say it's excusable, because you should believe victims, as that should be your instinct, to believe victims, even though you don't have to. You can leave yourself open, but your instinct should be to believe victims, even if someone's your friend. I'm not saying that that's an easy situation, but I'm not saying that someone else in that situation could have done it differently. But I would understand why someone's first instinct instead would be to support their friend. So at that time, she had supported her friend. She has since come out and said that she has not spoken to him since. I misjudged him. I do not support him. I do not support any violence. Obviously, I support victims. And so he was later found guilty. I do not condone abuse or violence against women. I empathize with the victims. Okay, that's what you're supposed to do. So it's good that she came out and said this. Of course, it's good that she acknowledged what she should have acknowledged, in saying that these things are not okay. But I think that she still had some criticism that she did not answer. Namely, the fact that she is in the Church of Scientology, and let into that a little bit. Now, I don't really know too much about Scientology, but I will. If we just look up, I've got over here is like, I just looked up criticism Scientology, so Scientology controversies or whatever, and there is, organized religion can very easily be used as a way to control people. Even if I'm not saying that religion is bad necessarily. I'm just saying it can be used as a way to control people. I think historically, even all religions at different times, you could point to times where they were used in ways to hurt people, used in ways to control people, used in ways to disenfranchise people, regardless of religion. I think you can see that. Now, I will say, though, is that there is a lot of weird stuff with Scientology. Now, you can go to this Wikipedia page, which is, it's just Wikipedia, but it lists a lot of things, it lists a lot of criticisms. You can go to, you can look it up on your own, and you can make a decision on your own whether you think Scientology is good or not. I'm not necessarily saying Scientology is good or not, because but I will just say, now, obviously, Christianity is more of a popular religion, but I will say, even if you just look at the criticism of Christianity, there is criticism of it being used to support slavery, or it sort of show having a more submissive role for women and stuff like that. There are criticism against it, but it's a lot of the criticism is also ideology and stuff like that, and then versus LGBTQ people and stuff like that. So there is a difference. Now, I'm saying I do grant that there is a sort of more societal acceptance of Christianity, as being more normal. And like, so, like my mom or my grandma's Christian or whatever. It can't be that bad or whatever. Even though it does have an effect, and it should be called out whenever it is being used to put people down, to hurt women or minorities, to control people. That should be acknowledged. But I will say, is just looking at this, just be glancing, is that Scientology does seem to be a lot more of the type of thing that's like, it looks like a cult. Now, people have used religious stuff to sort of, people have used Christianity to do cultish things or whatever, but I think as a whole, it's so big, it doesn't have that same culty feel or whatever. Like normal people who are Christians or whatever. Like, I don't think that makes you like in a cult. There may be sort of some elements that people enhance or whatever to do more things like that with Christianity or with any sort of like Islam or Judaism or anything like that. But I think you don't have to. But it seems like with a lot of this Scientology stuff, it's weird. It's like there's this whole thing of like this wife of the church Scientology leader hasn't been seen publicly since 2007. As of 2024, she's still, whereabouts are unknown. Like, this is like the leader of the Scientology. Like, this is like the Pope. Like, if the Pope like was married to someone, obviously that's not how Catholicism works. But imagine the Pope was married to someone they hadn't been seen in like 20 years, and they're like, no, don't worry, she's still alive. And it's like, that is weird. That is weird. It's just stuff that's just like, there's weird stuff. So you can go look at that. You can I'm sure you can watch all sorts of videos on this website, on the internet, and you can decide what you think. But to bring it back to the point, to bring it back to Emily Armstrong, is that she is in the Church of Scientology. And even though she has kind of responded, I think, as she should, to this whole stuff with Danny Masterson, to this whole thing of in the past having shown support, it is still a rough look to be in Scientology. Now, I don't know personally what her situation is with Scientology. I don't know if she believes it. I don't know like how it works to be in that. I can't speak to that. But it is not a good look for her. It is, and I don't think, I should just say like, hey, just don't be a Scientologist. But like, people aren't going to listen to me. I'm just a random person. So, but I think, so this is not really for her. This is for us to be like, okay, if we're thinking about this, obviously you're supporting, like, you're in this weird religion, but it's like, it's the same thing like Tom Cruise in this. And I still go and watch the Mission Impossible movies because I like the art. I mean, this just gets our thing of like, are you going to continue to support the art even though the artist is kind of weird? I think that's obviously, it's a personal decision. That's up to you. At what point does something cross a line? And I think if she did not publicly say that she had pulled her support and she believed victims with the whole Danny Masterson situation, if she did not come out and say that, if she did not respond to that, I don't think I could support and listen to this music. I mean, that's easy for me to say because I've never been a big Linkin Park fan. But I wanted to, whenever I saw this, when I listened to the music, I was like, okay, we have a woman in rock taking over. This is good. This is good to sort of have this development. But, if she continued to sort of hold this position, I would not be in favor in it and I would not support it. But with Scientology thing, I think it's a little easier to sort of just like separate the art from the artist in that situation. But it is something, if you choose, if that's an issue for you, if you are more familiar with Scientology and how weird, or more aware of like the weirdness of it or the strangeness of it, you may, more so than I am, because I've just done like preliminary research, is I can understand you not wanting to do it. But I think at this point, it seems to be that she said what she needs to. We'll see where things go from here if people continue to support it, because they have an album coming out, which they probably got it all recorded. It's only like 2 months away. I'm sure it's like fully done. It's probably going to come out. And so it's going to be like, are you going to listen to it? Are the fans going to listen to it? Is Linkin Park going to listen to it? Are they even going to care? Are Linkin Park fans even going to care the fact that like this whole Scientology thing? I don't know. We'll see. We'll just have to see. That's just the situation that's going on. I think it was important to talk about. It's an annual perennial conversation of separating the art from the artist. I think you're at a place where I don't think that you're like a bad person or whatever, for continuing to listen, to be interested in this project, excited about this project, and to see how it goes. Because I think the single is a good single. It's a good song, and it'll just be interesting to see sort of how they continue to go from this. And there are like 5 other members of the band who also are invested in success. So if you're like, hey, even if the lead singer, I don't know, there are still other people who care about this band. And I think that's important too, and are invested in making good music, who believe what they believe, and who aren't Scientologists. So I think that's important to sort of remember as well. And that's kind of sort of the stuff that I wanted to say about the Linkin Park situation. It's a rough situation to be in. I wouldn't wish it. I mean, obviously, Emily Armstrong has made choices in the past, I would say. I mean, I don't know how she got into Scientology, but she is an adult. She's doing what she's doing. She can defend herself. I don't have to defend her. I don't have to tell her what to do. I'm not her PR team. But it'll be interesting to sort of see how this develops. And I hate to see it, because I want to see more women in rock, because I like women in rock. I like anyone who has something to say, who has talent to make good music. And I know traditionally women in rock has been something that we've seen less of. So I want to see more of it. And so it's difficult to see the stumbling block and be like, you could have avoided this. So, but people can grow, people can change, and hopefully that continues to be something we see. So that is the whole Linkin Park situation. And yeah, and so as we transition out of that, as we transition into sort of the end thing, if you have any comments, feel free to drop them in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. I know we're ending kind of on a dour note there, so I want to say, hey, let's bring it back. Music is alive and well. I'm excited to see there's lots more music coming. We've passed the Grammys period, eligibility period, so we are now locked in. The next thing, VMAs are coming up this week. Stay tuned. I'm going to do a live stream right after they air, is the plan. If something changes, I'll post it on the channel. But I'm excited to see how that goes. Keep posting. I may post some shorts of just sort of some other thoughts I have on the VMAs coming up, leading up to that. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned. Feel free to tune in at the VMAs right after they happen, and I'll react to anything like that. And anything that happens this week, any music comes out this week, any stuff that happens this week, feel free to come on, and we'll talk about it right here on Indie Sundays, brought to you by the Goodie Boards. So cool. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week here on the channel. Have a good week, rest of your weekend, and listen to some good music.